And we're back with another episode of the AC Milan Zone podcast. They called me a fool when I said that we could win the Scudetto. Who's laughing now? Ozzy, welcome back. Big win, not only in terms of numbers, obviously we win 3-0, but one of the most convincing games that I've seen Milan play in the last season's. I guess we had some big victories in the Champions League with Fonseca, but beyond that, not never really a convincing game as much as this. Um, General thoughts. Lead us
Yeah,
off.
yeah. Ooh, you're starting off with a big statement there with the Scudetto winning, us winning the Scudetto. But general thoughts, I agree with you that it's been a very long time since we saw as convincing of a game from for Milan, and it's refreshing. I think I've mentioned this the last few podcasts. It's so nice to jump on the podcast and talk positively about Milan, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, hopefully this carries on. I think the with fewer games this season, it's only gonna benefit us. And I'm excited for this season. All of a sudden, I'm getting my hopes up,
Yeah,
which might be crushing towards the
yeah.
end. You never know,
You
but
never know.
maybe teams will start reading us. But
True.
yeah,
I'm sure
convincing
that.
win against an Udinese that we were predicting to be a difficult game. I think both of us said that last podcast, purely because it's Udinese and we always seem to struggle against them. But I can't say I watched the Udinese Inter game, but we dispatched Udinese. Honestly, dispatched them completely. And yeah, we'll see how we do against Lecce tomorrow. That could bring us down to earth again. But yeah, exciting times for us Milan fans.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, the Scudetto maybe is still a big statement for us, but and if there's a caveat to be had, it is absolutely that we've played teams that aren't going to be fighting for big positions in Cremonese, which of course we lost in Udinese and Lecce. That being said, still very solid, as you said. A team that's always tough for us, that have given Inter clearly some trouble. A team that's pretty brutal to play against. We saw it how much they just like to beat up players. I think Pulisic touched on it in his press conference, saying, "Yeah, I'm kind of beat up everywhere, but we got the results." Um,
Yeah,
but we
the
played
first
very
tw-
well.
the first 15-20 minutes they were butchering him.
Yeah,
And I was at one point I was really worried because he's
same.
always had issues with his calf and he was holding it a lot because that's where he was kicked. But yeah, I guess that's how their game plan was. I don't think it was over the top dirty, but you could definitely see that they were completely outplayed and had nothing to go for. So they
Yeah,
resorted to butchering.
yeah,
And
and even at the end when the
even
game.
towards the very end, yeah, against Selemakers in the 91st minute, of course they're upset. They don't want to be losing 3-0 at home after beating Inter 2-1 at San Siro. But yeah, it was pretty dirty. But
Yeah,
that's football. It is a contact sport. It wasn't like a Copa America game or a Copa Libertadores game or anything like that. But yeah,
yeah, I agree, but of course, yeah. Towards, I mean, they start. You're right. They started off, beating everyone up, and once the game was out of hand and out of reach for them, they continued with that. Um,
Mm,
I think, I mean, you're right. Maybe players and teams and managers will start to figure us out. So far, our press and our defensive system has been incredible. This sort of control press where we don't play, the classic Pioli man to man at a full court, but a
yeah,
very strategic press that allows the ball to go to players that we deem are not great, and then the trap kind of triggers a press that involves, the top 2/3 players being the two strikers plus
yeah.
Arabio to press, but the others to be very compact, and has led us to be.
It's
Go ahead.
it's all of a sudden strategic press because usually Milan teams or even under Pioli sometimes you just have the lone man sprint towards somebody and then the rest of the team doesn't know how to, I guess, press and close that space in whatever corner of the pitch that is, and everyone's buying in. It's not they're not running around like headless chickens, and that goes for our attack as well. The transitions we've been having, especially against Udinese, I think it was the third and final goal. Everyone seemed to know where they're running, what they're doing. It's not just
Yes.
sprint up until the edge of the box, and you've got four players within 5 meters of each other. You know what I mean?
Yes,
And
everyone
yeah,
everyone talks about Allegri ball and Aram ball and all that, but that looked beautiful. We'll speak about the ratings of individual players, but I think Makers has been so great at that and always shown that he could do that even under Pioli. And I mean, yeah, that goal is beautiful. We go back to the goalkeeper, invite the press, and then just couple passes, we're into space. Rabiot definitely great job carrying the ball, goes around, no look pass, and then Pulisic. The goalkeeper definitely could have and should have done better, but
yeah.
Pulisic
He,
doesn't take a touch, doesn't look at the goal, just shoots it.
Yeah, and then Santi Jimenez and Pulisic kind of switch positions in the box, and then the defenders lose their marking, and that's what happens, and it's really refreshing to see. And we'll get on to Santi Jimenez later, but I think he's gotten a lot of stick. If you actually just look at the chances he has, of course he's missed seven of them, of great opportunities, whatever the statistic is. But that man does he moves very very well. I think he finds the space and he works. I think he works hard. He doesn't seem to have an attitude on the pitch when he's missing these chances necessarily, and it's going to come eventually, I think.
No, I totally agree. I think we can talk about the players more in a second. To wrap up, the strategic press and the defense overall, it's led us to be, if you take the top five leagues, the best defensive team if you average expected goals. We're 0.25 per game, which is ridiculously low, of course. And this involves a couple XG that we gave Udinese at the end when the game was already over. I think
Yep.
second best is Newcastle at 0.45, so
Oh,
quite far. And yeah, of course, look, we'll
yeah.
see. We'll be tested already the next Serie A game with Napoli, of course. But once that structure is built, you feel very confident. And again, we're starting to see Pulisic now playing some more minutes. We'll get onto him. Spectacular player. Just the more
Yeah.
I watch, the more I fall in love. And we're missing Rafa Leao. I
Yeah.
am curious to see. Obviously, Leao will be an upgrade towards instead of Jimenez, no doubt. But I do think what you're mentioning is exactly right and could be interesting in that transition. Jimenez doesn't mind moving around and sort of filling the empty space, and letting Pulisic and Rabiot and all the midfielders come on in, and he's like, okay, I go into the box, or I just sort of fill the empty space and drag defenders with me.
Yeah, you make the dummy run, you sprint and
Exactly.
make that dummy run and
Yeah.
do it for a purpose, and that's to open up for others and be not be selfish. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Does Rafa do that? He likes to stay on his patch of grass, usually on the left. He doesn't like to wander too much without the ball. It kind of sometimes turns off, so to speak, without the ball, and requires the ball at his feet. So will be interesting to see. But Allegri and keeps talking him up, which is probably the right way to go. So I mean, once if he unlocks that and we can make that transition smoothly, then it's for us to lose football games because we just look so good. Truly a shame that we lost the first one in the way we did, because it seems very
Yeah.
silly to walk away with 0 points out of the game, especially now. But when you start this well, yeah, you can't complain. I'm gonna scroll down here and show the full mob ratings. Overall, obviously everyone's in the green, so above 7 except for Pavlovic, but close enough, 6.9, and he got subbed. But other defenders are tough to judge because we concede so little, even shots. We are so compact that they do their job well, but they're never in a situation where we've seen a lot in the past 2 years of being 1-on-1. The only sore point, which you rightfully pointed out already, is Jimenez.
Yeah.
It's tough because this were his chances, as Rafa nears his return, as Pulisic seems to be back in form, and hopefully everyone seems healthy, as Nkunku comes into form, you're like, hey, if you're gonna earn some minutes, it had to be
Yeah. So
now, and
it has to be. He has to score. Yeah.
he's not capitalized on his chances. What do you think of his performance? Are you in the camp of it's as bad as everyone says on Twitter, and do you think he will
Yeah.
see much pitch time once everyone's healthy?
I think, yeah, I mean, everyone on Twitter seems to be Jimenez out. We saw it on like a few comments on our Instagram posts, but the only thing is that we are winning games. Like for example, against Udinese, we won 3-0 convincingly. Could have been more if Jimenez had put away that quite, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, just shot it straight at him. And because we are winning and because we're playing well, it's helping him a lot. Because if we weren't scoring, then we'd be in the spotlight straight away, right? Because we'd be giving him these chances and we're not putting them away. If we only won 1-0 against Udinese and had two chances, and one of them was like a fluky goal, and one of them was the chance that he missed, then we'd be on his back a lot more. But I like that Allegri is giving him I guess, the benefit of the doubt, and he is running for the team. He's making these dummy runs. He has been part of some build up play, and it's just the final 20% that's missing, which is a goal, right? But I think it would be stupid of Allegri to, let's say, Nkunku starts against Lecce and scores one, and Jimenez doesn't. You're gonna try to pick somebody on form, right? Because
Yeah.
Jimenez isn't necessarily vital for our attacking play, right? It's
Yeah,
always been the
absolutely.
midfield carrying the ball forward, and Pulisic making these small runs and whoever it might be, and fullbacks filling in. But it would be stupid of Allegri to only pick Jimenez if Nkunku comes into form, and like you say, Rafa Leao is on the verge of training with the team, right?
Yeah.
So he'll be coming in, and I doubt you'd want to bench Leao for
Yeah,
Jimenez, who hasn't
that's
scored
not
any
happening
goals.
not
That's
anytime
not
soon.
that's not going to happen. No. And I think Allegri, before the season started, he said that he was going to turn Rafa Leao into 20 goal scorer. Now it's obviously a bit, we're three Serie A games into the season, but there's still time for 20 goals. But I think Leao would have been tucking those those goals away that Jimenez has had, right?
Yeah, yeah, you think so? And again, it's what we said last podcast is that it's clear. You can see that he's overthinking. He gets his beautiful chance off of a nice Purvis pass, which we'll get onto as well because I want to talk about Estupinian. And he just shoots it right at the keeper. One of those where you don't risk putting it top bins, you don't risk putting it to the side. You're like, look, I shoot towards goal, I'm getting the shot on target, and then if he saves it, he saves it. And that's just
Yeah,
what a striker does when he's just not confident. Um, I, I,
absolutely.
I feel for him also because, again, some of the confidence and the doubt was sort of self-created in terms of the club. That's what happens when you
Yeah,
try to sell them all summer and then before a game say, yeah, we're trying to swap them for a striker that doesn't even play, that Roma doesn't want. So I feel bad for him. There goes
yeah.
my light. I feel bad for him, but yeah, at some point it's as you said, he's not
But
vital.
then but all these Jimenez out tifosi on Twitter, just look back exactly a year ago when we had Morata. I would, any day of the week, I would rather have Jimenez making these runs and getting into these positions rather than stumbling around Morata outside the box, and who lacks pace, who uh, lacks a touch, couldn't score to save his life either. Really, I mean, okay, maybe he scored twice, maybe at this point. I can't remember the exact stats, but give me Santi Jimenez making these runs and fitting into a system and buying in at least. It's all about players wanting to
Yeah,
play better and not show it on the pitch.
yeah,
Don't throw tantrums. Don't go out into media and complain. I think Santi Menez should get a bit of a pat on the back for not complaining, and it's kind of tough also if you think, like you said, with how Tade came out and talked about wanting to replace him and sell him like couple few days before the transfer window closed. That can't have helped his confidence either. So
yeah.
there's a bunch of factors, but overall, I'd rather keep Jimenez, and I think the goals will come.
Yeah, no. Yeah, totally same page. And now again, he'll be more helpful once he's off the bench and it kind of takes that pressure off and he can come in a game that's already going on and put some goals under his belt. And look, ultimately he's gonna be a sub in this team, and that's a high level quality sub that
Yeah,
we should be happy with.
yeah,
To wrap up this game and continue with the players, honestly, Jimenez for me was the only low note. The rest was just green flags.
yeah,
Estupinian yet again continues the pattern of just each game that he plays, he's playing better and better and better. He's really fallen to form. Sort of expected. We talked about this. We knew that he needed a system to just sort of do his what his role is and not be asked too much. once Allegri has nailed down that this 3-5-2, 4-4-2 formation, it allowed him to sort of make the game a little more simple for Stupinian, and let the game come to him. Salemakers again, just great. Yeah, I can't speak. I hope he stays healthy because I think he's so important. We'll see how Atenkame does against Lecce. He played and made
Yeah.
his debut in this game. Couldn't see much of him. We will see. Luka Modric again doesn't get the MVP this time because Pulisic gets 2 goals and assists. How could you not? And he played wonderful. But as
Yeah.
Suma was just raving on the Milan commentary, what a player! I mean, just ridiculously good.
Effortless.
Yeah,
Effortless.
yeah.
No, he is. I mean, obviously, we knew that he was. I feel like we're repeating each other, repeating every podcast. But obviously, I can't say I watch a lot of Real Madrid games apart from the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the finals of the Champions League that he's been part of. He's honestly, I'm so impressed. And when people start talking about him being the goat, obviously we can sit here for hours and debate what the best midfielder of all time is, but as almost a 40 or as a 40-year-old now, as of a couple of weeks ago, he is he
Yeah.
is still he's still almost in his prime, it feels like.
Yeah. Very, as we were talking about this privately, as you said, very Pirlo-esque, and we as Milan fans definitely don't say that lightly. But just effortless, a step ahead every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so lucky,
Well,
so
yeah.
lucky to have him.
Exactly 10 years ago we were playing Ricardo Montolivo in that position, I believe. Just to
Yeah,
put things into perspective as far as how low we've gone and how high we're sort of on the rise again.
yeah. Suisovi, thanks for joining in the chat. Tells us a stat that I didn't know, that Pulisic 2 goals against Udinese made him the top US scorer in the top 5 leagues with 57 total career goals. He passes Dempsey in the stats. Thank you for the stats, Suisovi. I
We
mean,
don't
Captain
do we
America.
know do we know where Dempsey's from? I don't know.
You don't know where I'm from, dog. He knows. He knows. He knows. Yeah, I mean, Pulisic again. It's just kind of the same thing with Modric, where it's like it's year 3, but he makes it look like it's year 1 in terms of just being all over the pitch.
Yeah.
Tries hard from minute to minute. He got beat up badly to this game. Stayed composed. Slots away two goals. Right place and right time for the first one, but still finishes.
Yeah.
Puts it high, something that maybe Santi wouldn't have done so
Yeah.
well. The second goal, goalkeeper can obviously do a little bit better there, but he gets the ball, he's facing away from goal, never once looks at goal, hits it first time, and slots it away. Creates the third goal as well with the third goal in the game.
With
Chasing
pressing
back,
Karlstrom.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. His press is underrated. And you see, is shining now with Allegri's system. Fofana, a lot of people maybe owe some apologies. Finally gets a shot. Appreciate the accountability. Stop shooting over the crossbar, hits the goal and
But
gets his first goal.
but what you didn't see is that Fofana actually shoot from inside the box. That's where it's been going wrong.
It's a
That's where
very
it's been,
precise range. It's like when you play
yeah,
FIFA and you have like 90 finishing but 30 long shots. That's kind of where Fofana's range
exactly.
sweet spot is. And then there's Rabiot as well. Again, so surprised. I knew that he was going to be a solid pickup. I knew he's a Allegri man through and through. Did not expect him to be this good on the ball, in the press.
Yeah.
Up the field, making runs and getting the assists like he did, but also helping Modric out. That combination of Modric and Rabiot and Fofana, of course, but especially those two, it's working so well. Rabiot
Yeah.
covers for a lot of the physical deficiencies that maybe Luka Modric, undersized and 40 years old, does. Luka Modric
And
just gets a little bit of breathing room and can shine for the absolute baller that he is. It's been
he
working out
is.
perfectly.
I'm just so surprised that Marseille were so keen to get rid of him. I know it was that locker room clash with Rowe, and I guess that creates a bit of a toxicity in the locker room. But getting rid of him so quickly, so fast, I was very surprised. And we picked him up for essentially a free, right? Or it was a
No, we
very
played
low
10,
fee.
no? I thought it
Yeah,
was
it
10,
was
but maybe I'm
extreme.
wrong.
Yeah, I thought,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, but
extremely low
for his
fee
value, yeah.
for an experienced, how old is he? 30, 31,
30, yeah. Which is
30 year
old, but
old.
not that old in today's football. Like, you need those players
No,
if you're trying to
exactly.
win
Yeah,
now.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Marseille are playing a lot of games because they're in. Is it the Champions League? I believe it's Champions League. Yes, Champions League because they play against Real Madrid. Yeah, I'm surprised that they got rid of him so easily, and I guess we are picking up an experienced midfielder, like you say, and an Allegri man through and through. And yeah, very surprised. Well, not very surprised, but surprised that he's doing so well, and that midfield is exquisitely balanced right now.
Yeah. The next job is, of course, for Allegri to find the the output and the success in those second lines, in those bench warmers. Of course, today's football with the five subs is key, plus
Yep.
injuries, as we saw. He started to do that a little bit. Of course, up top we had to, so we found some output from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Jimenez, as we said, is in an ideal lineup coming off the bench. I think Ricci continues to do well. So that
Yep.
position is pretty set. Loftus-Cheek can come in. We did see, I think, come in. I'm curious to see more about him, and the occasion is perfect to transition to Lecce. We should see a lot of rotation, rightfully so, in this game. It is a Coppa Italia game against a Lecce team that started so poorly in Serie A. Di Francesco is going. He's been relegated now twice in a row in Serie A with two different teams. This would be his third team, an absolute record. I am maybe very wrong. I think he's actually a good manager. The issue is that, well, he's been given some absolutely dreadful teams, Venezia last year, and if you look at this Lecce team, there's not a lot of talent. And
Yeah, if you sell your striker, was it like a week before the window
yeah,
closes?
it's gonna be tough.
And I say star striker. For them, it's a star striker.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's been doing well at
and
Atalanta,
he's
Krstovic. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So it's not really. It's kind of hard to start a season off with your goal scorer being sold
yeah, and
for a
uh,
good
and uh,
fee, but yeah,
yeah, and I do think that, yeah, he gets terrible teams and he's at fault in Italy of trying to play good attacking football with small teams, which sometimes is wonderful, but a lot of times gets you in trouble. But yes, we don't know the formation exactly. Allegri spoke and gave some hints. He did mention that Magnan should start in goal to sort of get back on the pitch and see how healthy he is. So that should be it. De Winter is set to start. We don't know if Pavlovic, Gabbia, or Tomori will sit. Most likely one of Pavlovic and Tomori. He did mention that Ricci is set to start for Luka Modric, which makes total sense. And then we'll probably see maybe Rabiot get some rest too with Fofana and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. The wings are open. It's likely that one stays and another one rest. But also could be also Atenkame and Bartesaghi both starting.
yeah.
And up top, Nkuku is set to start with Jimenez to
Yeah.
prioritize the rest for Pulisic.
We
How
need,
would
we
you
need to get
play?
Jimenez scoring.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think in the beginning of the season in our podcast we are discussing about how great it would be to actually know a lineup. Now with proper rotation, we're not doing it to try something new like we did under Conceição and Fonseca, benching Teo and stuff. Yeah, I think it's time for De Winter to have his starting 11 debut. Uh, I hope we're not stressing Mignon back, but like you said, like the reports have been saying, it wasn't as serious as it was reported after his injury. So yeah, kind of makes sense. Get him into match fitness, I guess, even though he's only missed 1.5 games. Uh, Midfield, yeah, Ricci. Finally, hopefully he gets a start because he's been coming off the bench and doing really well. So let's hope that he fills in that Modric role. Perhaps not the exact same player, but still a deeper midfielder that can play ball. You said Rabiot will be rested, sure, because he runs, I think, most of any of our players the last 2 games.
yeah,
Makers would make more sense to rest out of the wings because
agreed.
he's quite a small player, but he does get kicked around a lot, and
Hmm.
he's been running up and down that right wing for us so much, so it makes sense to rest him.
Yeah, and also I think Kame
Um,
probably has not a lot more experience, but more proper football, Champions League,
yeah,
that level than Bartesaghi.
exactly. So I'd rather rest Selemakers than Estupinian. But then let's see, maybe at halftime, if it's going well, just put on Bartisagi and let's try to close out the game. It will be really fun to see Nkunku start. I think
Agreed.
he's been pretty bright coming on,
Yeah.
and we knew he was lacking match fitness purely because of the 47 players that Chelsea had. um, and yeah, keep Jimenez playing. I think because he got subbed pretty early on for us, right in the Udinese game. I think that was the mentality of like, let's not make it worse. Let's
Yeah.
play him against Lecce. Hopefully, he picks up a goal because that man is starving for a goal, and
Yes.
it
Very
would
much
it would help
needed.
us tremendously if he comes into goal scoring form.
Yeah.
So I agree. And formation wise, we never know really because it's modern football. You can't really tell whether it's a 4-4-2, or if it's a 4-3-1-2, or if it's a 3-5-2. But we definitely have some bright players on the bench coming on for us to start a Coppa Italia midweek Coppa Italia game that FA Cup in the UK or in England is very big. The Coppa Italia perhaps isn't as big in Italy. I mean, it's still a trophy. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong. I'm not going to slander the name of the Coppa Italia, but it's good for us to win games at this point.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
because we've got
Especially
such a
only having two competitions like we do. You never
exactly.
know.
Had we had Champions League or Europa League or even Conference League, I would care even less. But now it's just about continuing that form, and you're only as good as your last game. So
Yeah, agreed. And I think that's also a very major point. Winning cures everything. We saw it, after the Cremonese game. It was, when is Allegri out by Christmas? Are we going to miss Champions League again? And now we win
yeah,
against two in a row or three in a row. And beat Udinese, and it's like, oh my God, Milan is the only one that can stop Napoli, and it's like, all right, let's all calm down.
yeah,
But going in, knowing that Napoli is next, going with that positivity that we have now, and another win would be huge. I think it is tricky because you do want to, especially with Napoli looming, say, okay, rotate all the starters, but obviously that doesn't help if you rotate all the starters. You can't go out, don't play well, maybe starts to struggle, maybe go down, and then you need to put on the starters. So I think what Allegri is likely to do, and probably the right choice, is try to make 4 to 5 changes, try to just insert
yeah.
the subs into a starter context, get a win, of course, and then try to yeah, again, five
Yeah,
subs, try to make everyone else rest later on.
yeah, and you as a NBA fan, how much does load management help players really in the long
Yeah,
run, right? Depending on whether they're injured or not, but these you need to have your best players playing a lot. That's what they're paid for.
yeah,
That's what they want themselves, I think. Obviously, if they're feeling a knock or anything, sure, but I
yeah.
don't think any player is very happy to be rested for the sake of just being
Just
rested.
resting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's
Like,
different.
or
Modric is firing on all cylinders, but it's a certain age. It makes total sense for him not to play. A player like
yeah,
Jimenez, right now, and does it even, we're probably hopefully don't have to play him against Napoli, but even if we had to, you just want to get him out there and get him to go and get him all the
yeah,
yips out. Um, yeah, I think that's all we can add to discuss. Before maybe we get onto the prediction, we can talk a little bit about the rest of the Serie A. Napoli will play tonight, so that's the only game missing. But we saw a derby di Roma that ended with a few red cards, as always, as a
yeah.
proper Roma derby should. And Roma takes away the win. Big win for them, massive.
Maybe just a quick question with the Lazio Roma game, because I saw it on Twitter. I follow something called like Casual Hooligans. It's one of those strange pages that show, like two Polish teams having a hooligan fight in the forest, that kind of stuff. But is it normal for Lazio and Roma fans to? Because apparently they like collected. They've got obviously between the ultras, they've got like friendships over Europe on
Okay.
different teams.
Yeah.
Apparently they like collected ultras from different parts of Europe to be in the stands with them. I thought it was when I saw it, they had like a layout of what the Stadio Olimpico was going to be like and where all these different ultras would be. Not that they were carrying necessarily like wearing Roma shirts, but
Yeah.
they just had ultras for some sort of backup. I
I,
just
I,
found it
I
very, very bizarre. I don't
Yeah,
get
I didn't even
ultras
know. I know about, all the,
culture,
in
but
Italy we call it gemellaggi, where you're like, you say,
yeah,
like teams across countries that
I
sort of
think
support each
yeah,
other.
like
Um,
Hajduk Split fans were there.
Yeah,
apparently.
there was
Like,
a lot of Croatian at least flags and shirts in ours, and Modric did get a standing ovation in Udine, which I thought was interesting. I didn't know
oh, there's a
about
lot of Milan fans.
yeah, I didn't know about the Roma or Derby and
Yeah,
their
I just
fans,
found that bizarre because
but
they don't lack ultras either team really.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but anyways, could have been
Yeah,
like a
a little bit strange. No, I need to look it
yeah
up. Yeah, because yeah, and you never know in that city that football is just crazy there. Like in many other
yeah it's
cities, but to a
religion.
level that's maybe a little bit sick. But I just found it interesting. You know, last year Nuno Tavares. Just make this quick note. You know. Was gonna be better than Teo Hernandez and was gonna be the should have been the Teo Hernandez substitute according to a lot of Milan fans. He had a good season.
Yeah,
Wanted to leave to make a according to him, a bigger step than Lazio. Wasn't allowed to leave because Lazio couldn't buy any players, so they decided not to sell any players because they couldn't replace them.
yeah,
He's been clearly checked out, gives away a terrible, terrible ball. They concede. Um, and apparently he was sort of cast out and subbed at halftime. He just showered and left, according to La Repubblica.
left
Did
the state.
not, yeah, left. Unauthorized, just left and was not there when his teammates came back. So curious to monitor the situation at Lazio. It
I
obviously
find that
keeps
so
getting worse.
bizarre.
Yeah,
Like footballers in general. Look, and it's easy for me to say I'm a 29-year-old just sitting podcasting with my best friend, but like he had a failed move to Arsenal. He got chucked out of there immediately. Basically,
yeah,
he's got a new life at Lazio, and
yeah,
Lazio's a biggish. Well, it's in Italy, biggish team, still one
yeah.
of the bigger
I'm
ones
playing.
for sure.
He's played European
Playing
competitions there.
European competitions. He's done really well, and then he kind of stamps them in the back and tries to. I don't know where he'd go because like, would he really want to go to? I guess Arsenal is a bigger club, right? At
Yeah,
this
of
point of
course. Yeah,
time, for sure. So I can understand him wanting always to try to play the best football, but like, why are players rushing so hard to leave these pretty big teams like Lazio
yeah.
in order to what find Premier League success? Where's he gonna go? Like Nottingham Forest, who are who are what, like 15th in the league?
Yeah, and I would get it
Is
if
that a bigger move?
yeah, and I would
Really?
get it if he was
It's big
young and he
money.
was making that first big move, and you're like so eager to do it, then you're like, okay, maybe it's clouded. But for someone who, as you said, had that failed move to Arsenal and then got a chance to perform well and hasn't got that second life, that's rare in football. You'd think that he'd know
Yeah.
better and say, hey, maybe I stick here and maybe I try. But the situation in Lazio is definitely to be monitored. It's good for us. I think it limits the competition.
Yeah.
They will need to spend big in January, but they need to make it to January.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. Roma, I don't think I watched the game. It didn't look spectacular, but as we said just before, winning cures everything. And Gasperini, he shouldn't be allowed to cook. He's a dangerous man. We'll see
Yeah.
how he does. We saw Juve get stopped. Tudor continues to play pretty bad football, pretty defensive
Yeah.
bad football. He does not get bailed out this time. They draw to Hellas Verona, which means we gain some points on them. Inter just barely win against Sassuolo, but also
Hmm.
struggled. Atalanta dominates, as we said. Kristovic scores two, um,
Yeah.
and they're looking solid. I don't know how long it'll last, and Torino is in shambolic fashion, so we shouldn't put too much weight on their opponent. One last game that I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you saw, was the Fiorentina game. This was a classic Pioli, who's getting a lot of heat, probably rightfully so. Fiorentina is 17th. They have 2 points, negative 3 goal difference. They've dropped all that they can. First half, they dominated, full core press, man to man, as we've seen so many times. Honestly, made Como struggle a lot. And then a decent manager like Cesc Fabregas just said, okay, we invert the wings, we start the same things that Milan fans will know, bring down Pioli, pull the striker down to pull the defenders out, and Como comes back to win it.
Yeah.
Do you think Pioli gets, as in Italy says, do you think he sees Christmas as
No,
the head coach of
I doubt
Fiorentina?
it because they kind of doubled down and kept Moise Kean. Like, it wasn't that he's been handed us a terrible squad or like they've sold off their best players.
Not at
They still
all.
have some
Quite the
very
opposite. They're quite the
quite the
mercato.
opposite. They invested, yeah. So I don't think you'll see. I mean, this game against Pisa. I think they're playing on like next weekend. That's going to be a massive one for Pioli. I think if they lose that or even draw it, then Pioli is on the brink of leaving, and I feel bad to a certain extent. But it, like you say, with who was it you mentioned, with Lazio, with this Fiorentina team that we were kind of expecting to be top eight. Obviously, we're only 3 games into the season, and a coaching change this early on might be able to bring them back to top eight, but eliminates some competition for us. So it only makes me happier.
Yeah, we will see. It's tough. I think he does have a higher risk, 'cause I think there are managers that can come in. You know, Tego Motta is lurking there. Apparently, Spalletti is lurking in the shadows. So,
Spalletti.
so we'll see. Um, and then yeah, big. We'll talk again after the Lecce game, and then the real big and first test of our season will come with Antonio Conte and Napoli, a game that will probably be pretty gross. If
Yeah,
neither
two
team,
two two heavyweights, two Italian coach heavyweights
yeah,
going at it. Not like
slugfest. Neither team will want to lose. Yeah, if there's no
yeah,
early goals in this game, it can get fired up if there are some early goals. But if
yeah.
it's not, it could be a real slugfest.
It will be a massive slugfest.
Yes. But 40
We'll
minutes
get to
in,
see Kevin De Bruyne against Modric. I think
this
that'll
is
be
true.
quite interesting.
This is true. There's a lot of actually quite interesting sort of head to head. Still don't know if Leao will be there, hopefully, and that'll be huge for us. It'll be also
Yeah,
kind of tough if he just makes it, and then it's like, do you start him? Do you not start him? Does he have 90 minutes in his legs? Apparently, he's been
but
working hard, but
that would be a talking about super subs. If he comes in with 30 minutes to go and changes the game, I mean that's
this is
a
true. You start
that's a
with
that's a
Pulisic.
luxury very few teams, at least in the city, I have.
Yeah, 100% agreed. Um, we'll talk again after the Lecce game to discuss the Napoli game, but now it's time for our predictions. We're on a hot
We're
streak as a
we're back
podcast,
to back.
back to
Yeah,
back. And not the easiest, not the hardest predictions, but I don't think there wasn't a lot. I'd like to pat myself in the back. There wasn't a lot of people thinking 3-0 Udinese.
no,
A few on our Instagram page were locked in and then found it. So I got it right, so I feel like I'll go first. I feel like that's
go
the
ahead,
harder
go ahead.
job. Let's see. It's Coppa Italia, heavy rotation. Do we think Lecce rotates? I don't know. I could see him, not rotating because, I mean, it's one extra game. You try to win it. I could also
Yeah,
them seeing like, hey, look, it doesn't matter. We're probably going to lose this. We're 20th. Let's focus on the league. Let's not get any injuries.
or to
Obviously,
come out of the brace.
Camarda will likely play because they don't have a lot of strikers. He's yet to find a net with them. It is a home. There is probably somewhat heavy rotation from us. It's really hard to predict a Coppa Italia game. I do think that we have the right mindset, and Allegri's been good about this. So I'm going to keep saying clean sheet. I'm going to say it's tough. Like, if we score early on, it could be one of those Coppa Italia games that's like 4-0 and it's over by the 70th minute. But
Yeah,
if we don't, I'm going to say 4-0.
okay,
I'm going to clean sheet 4-0 scorers. Nkuku, double. Brace Nkuku,
double.
Jimenez, spell break, goal, and Ricci, just to make Allegri's decision in the future harder. That's it. That's my prediction. Wait, for the clip,
Bold.
I need to. I as always, I spoke way too much and confusing. Milan Lecce, Milan will 4-0. Nkuku brace, Santi Jimenez, and Ricci will score.
Good prediction.
Go
Very
on,
confident.
go on.
I'm not gonna write it. I'm not gonna speak an essay like you did. I'm gonna go straight to the point. I think we are having a bit of rotation. I think it might be slightly harder than we expect, maybe. So I'm gonna say 2-1 for Milan. We're not gonna keep the clean sheet, unfortunately. And the goal scorers will be Nkunku and Jimenez, in that order.
Ooh, okay, now we're getting detailed. Do we have minutes?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
37th
We're just
minute,
gonna
someone will score.
Yeah, we're just gonna be topping ourselves, and then all of a sudden it'll be like a 5-0 win for Lecce, and we're just gonna delete this
Yes.
VOD.
I'd be curious about the next podcast prediction because We often predict a Milan win, but this time against Napoli, we're not the
It might
favorites
be
on paper. So
it might be my first draw prediction of the season.
we have.
That's classic.
I'm,
A
I'm
classic
pretty.
nil-nil.
I'm pretty negative usually. Maybe it might be my first loss prediction, but we'll see. Maybe that will be a reverse jinx. As always,
You didn't you predict Milan to win the Scudetto?
this is true. This is true. This
Yeah.
is true. But in order to make that, I gotta reverse jinx the individual games. It's all you wouldn't know. It's 4D chess. There's a logic to.
Sorry,
to
I'm
this
not
madness.
Italian. This is like a slugfest of mental warfare with,
Yeah,
with yourself.
exactly. I don't even. Yeah, no black cats crossing my street before that game. No walking under ladders. Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's it. We will speak after the Lecce game. Thank you again for talking
Thank you,
through
Stefano.
this, and thank you everyone watching. If you made it through the end of this, I should start doing this at the beginning of videos rather than at the end. But we learn. Follow and leave a like, and see you next time. Forza Milan.
Bye.